All right, so we're diving deep into backpacking Thailand today.
Mhm.
We've got pretty good mix of stuff to go through, like
hmm
travel guides, blog posts. We even found some firsthand accounts online to give us hopefully some pretty good insights, for anyone wanting to plan a really amazing trip. And we're not just talking about the typical tourist stuff either, right?
Right. Yeah, a lot of the sources really emphasize that like authentic Thailand experience,
Yeah,
even if you're on a tight budget,
yeah,
which is, I think, really cool.
yeah, definitely. Okay, so how about we start with that? Like everyone always talks about how affordable Thailand is,
hmm
but what does that actually mean? Like on the ground, what can someone actually expect to spend?
Well, a lot of these guides and blogs, they're suggesting like 30 US dollars a day
Wow.
for pretty decent, comfortable experience. And then, if you want more flexibility, a few more splurges here and there, then they bump it up to like $50 a day.
Still, that's pretty amazing. I mean, to be able to travel comfortably on that kind of budget, what can you actually, like, what can you get for that kind of
I
money?
mean, tons of stuff. Like, think about it. Street food. Delicious, amazing street food. You're talking a couple of bucks a meal, you know? Oh,
Really?
yeah.
Huh?
And accommodation. You can find guest houses, cozy little places for like under 15 bucks a night.
Wow, that's even cheaper than some hostels I've seen in other parts of the world. So it sounds like Thailand really does live up to its reputation as a like a budget-friendly paradise.
Mm.
Um, but okay, let's say you've got your budget figured out. Where do you even begin? I mean, there's so much to see and do. How do you plan an itinerary?
Well, there's a lot of suggested itineraries out there, and they're really helpful because it's not just about ticking off destinations, right? It's about understanding each region, like
Yeah.
what makes it unique. So, for a classic 2-week trip, a lot of people recommend sticking to the well-trodden path, Bangkok, obviously, then Ayutthaya for the historical ruins, then Chiang Mai for the culture, and then down south, Krabi, Koh Tao, beaches, diving, all that good stuff.
Yeah, that sounds like a pretty perfect intro to Thailand, I think. It's all the highlights. But what if you've got like a whole month to explore? What then?
Oh, then you can really dig in.
Yeah.
So you could do that same basic route, but add in some extra stops along the way. Like on your way up north from Bangkok to Chiang Mai, you could stop in Kanchanaburi, check out the bridge there.
Yeah, the bridge on the River Kwai.
Exactly. And then maybe Lopburi. See the monkeys?
The monkeys.
Oh, yeah. They've kind of taken over these ancient temples. It's wild. And then further north, before you hit Chiang Mai, you could stop in Sukhothai.
Oh, Sukhothai. I was reading about that. It's like an ancient capital, right?
Incredible temple ruins there. Some historians even think that the architecture in Sukhothai might have influenced the design of Angkor Wat in Cambodia.
Wow, really?
Yeah. And then, while you're up north, you can't miss Pai. It's super laid back, beautiful scenery, perfect for like renting a motorbike and just cruising around.
Awesome.
And then Chiang Rai, of course. More stunning temples and a really unique cultural vibe.
This is making me want to extend my trip already. But okay, what about those travelers who, they want to get off the beaten path? Like, what about something a little less touristy?
I was getting to that. A lot of the sources mention Isan.
Eisen.
Yeah, it's in the east. It's a region that often gets overlooked, but it's like a glimpse into a more rural, traditional Thailand.
Okay, Eisen. I'm adding that to my list.
Yeah.
What makes it so special?
Well, for one thing, it's got all this like ancient history. You can find Khmer temples there, like Phimai, which some people think actually predate Angkor Wat.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a chance to really step back in time. And, if you're a nature lover, you can explore Khao Yai National Park. It's huge, lush jungles, tons of wildlife. It's amazing.
It sounds incredible. Okay, this is making me think about transportation. Like, how easy is it to actually get around Thailand?
Oh, it's pretty easy. And there are options for every budget, every travel style. Like, let's say you want to go from Bangkok to Chiang Mai. If you're on a budget, overnight trains are a great option.
I've always wanted to take an overnight train. Like, it seems so romantic.
Right. And they're comfortable, they're affordable, you get to see the scenery, plus you save money on a night's accommodation.
That's true. But what if you're short on time?
Well, then you can always fly. Thailand has a bunch of budget airlines that offer really affordable fares. It's a quick way to hop between cities or islands.
That's good to know. But what about getting around once you're in a specific place, like those smaller towns or those more rural areas? What then?
Oh, then you've got a whole other set of options. There's somthos, which are like these shared trucks, really common in the north. They're cheap, and it's a fun way to interact with the locals.
I love those kinds of like local experiences.
Yeah, just be prepared for a bit of a bumpy ride. And then, there's always taxis, especially in the cities, they're everywhere. And ride-hailing apps like Grab are becoming really popular there. They offer set prices, which is good, so you don't have to worry about, getting ripped off.
Yeah, I've heard those horror stories.
And if you do take a traditional taxi, make sure they use the meter.
Good advice. Of course, we can't forget about tuk-tuks.
Oh, yeah, the tuk-tuks. They're an experience for sure.
I've always wanted to ride in one.
Just, be prepared to haggle a bit. They're known for inflating prices for tourists, especially in those touristy areas.
Oh, that's all part of the fun, right?
Mm.
All right, let's talk food. I mean, it's a big part of the travel experience, and especially in Thailand, everyone raves about the food. So what do we need to know?
Well, you've got to try pad thai, obviously.
Oh, dude.
But honestly, the sources are all saying, don't just stick to the familiar stuff. Explore. Be adventurous.
I'm all for that. So what are some of the, hidden gems we should be looking for?
One tip that stood out to me was to look for these curry shacks in the morning.
Curry shacks in the morning?
Yeah, a lot of them have these, huge vats of pre-prepared curries ready to go, and they'll serve them over rice. It's super cheap and delicious.
Okay, that sounds amazing. I'm a huge curry fan. What else?
Oh, the fruit. You can't miss the fruit.
Yeah.
Thailand is like a tropical fruit paradise. Mangoes, pineapples, papaya, you name it. And it's also fresh and juicy and flavorful. And don't forget about mango sticky rice. Oh my gosh, it's so good.
I've heard about that. Sweet, sticky rice with mango and coconut milk.
Exactly. It's like a dessert, but you can eat it any time of day. It's heavenly.
I'm definitely trying that. So it sounds like Thai food it's really an experience,
Yeah.
It's not just about the food itself.
Right. One of the sources actually used this phrase, same but different.
Same, but different.
Yeah, it's like you'll find pad thai everywhere, but each region, even each vendor, will have their own little twist on it.
So it's like you're trying the same dish, but it's always a new discovery.
Exactly.
I love that. Okay, switching gears a bit. Language. How much Thai do you actually need to know before you go?
Well, the good news is you can get by with basic English in most tourist areas. But, it's always appreciated when you try to learn a few phrases.
Oh, yeah, for sure. What are some, essential phrases?
Thank you is a good one. Kap kun for men, hap kun ka for women.
Kap kun. I'm learning already.
See, you got it.
Okay, visas. How long can you stay in Thailand without, jumping through hoops?
So most nationalities get a 30-day visa-free entry, which is plenty for a good trip. But, just be aware that if you cross by land, you might only get a 15-day stamp.
So if you're planning, a longer, more complex trip, you really need to do your research, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. Be prepared. Know your options.
Good advice. Okay, let's talk about safety. I mean, it's a big concern for any traveler, especially when you're backpacking. What are some of the, scams or dangers we should be aware of?
Well, Thailand is generally pretty safe. But, tourist hotspots, they attract scams just like anywhere else. The classic one is the overpriced tuk-tuk ride. But you also want to watch out for things like gemstone scams and those, overly friendly locals who try to pressure you into buying something or going to their friend's shop.
It sounds like trusting your gut is pretty important.
Totally. If something feels off, just walk away. Don't be afraid to say no. Politely, but firmly.
Good point. Now, what about solo female travelers? Is Thailand safe for women traveling alone?
Yeah, it generally is. But, the usual precautions apply, like join groups for activities like trekking or diving, don't drink too much, and always trust your instincts.
So it's safe, but, be smart about it.
Exactly.
All right, before we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I want to touch on cultural etiquette. What are some things that we should be aware of?
Oh, yeah, that's important. So one big one is respecting the monarchy.
Right.
Don't make any negative comments about the royal family. It's considered very disrespectful, and it can even be illegal.
That makes sense. The monarchy is very important in Thai culture. What else?
Feet. Be mindful of your feet.
What do you mean?
Don't point your feet at people, especially monks or Buddha images. Feet are considered the lowest part of the body in Thai culture. And when you enter someone's home or a temple, always take your shoes off.
Okay, good to know. So it's all about being respectful and understanding the local customs.
Exactly. And, another thing that comes up a lot is this concept of losing face.
I've heard about that, but I'm not really sure what it means.
Basically, it means avoiding behavior that would cause someone to feel embarrassed or humiliated in public. It's about maintaining harmony and social standing.
So, don't yell at someone if they mess up your order or something.
Right. Avoid raising your voice, getting into public arguments. It's about being mindful of how your actions impact others.
It's a good lesson for anywhere, really, not just Thailand.
Definitely.
Okay, last one. I read somewhere about this Jai Yen attitude. What is that?
Oh, yeah. It literally means cool heart. And it basically sums up the Thai approach to life. Stay calm, patient, tolerant, even in difficult situations.
It sounds like a really great mindset to have, especially when you're traveling.
Totally. It's
Hmm.
all about going with the flow, embracing the unexpected, finding the joy in the journey, even when things don't go exactly as planned.
That's such a great way to put it.
Yeah.
All right, I think we've covered a lot of ground here,
Yeah.
from budget tips to transportation, food, culture. It's a good starting point, right?
Definitely. And we're just getting started.
That's right. There's still so much more to explore.
Mhm.
But we'll save that for our next episode.
I can't wait.
Neither.
All right, welcome back to our Thailand deep dive. So, we covered a lot of the practical stuff in the last part, budgeting, transportation, all that.
Yeah, the basics.
But now I kind of want to get into the experiences,
Yeah.
like the stuff that really captures the essence of Thailand.
Yeah, I'm all about that. So what really stood out to you in all the research we did?
Well, one thing that came up a lot was connecting with the spiritual side of Thailand, like going beyond the touristy stuff and really experiencing the heart of this ancient culture.
Yeah, Thailand's famous for its temples and its Buddhist heritage. So where would you even begin with that?
A lot of the sources recommend starting in Bangkok with Wat Pho,
Yeah.
home of the reclining Buddha.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I've seen pictures of that. It's massive, right?
Yeah, it's huge, like 46 meters long, and it's covered in gold leaf and mother of pearl. It's pretty amazing.
I can only imagine. So what other spiritual journeys await?
Well, outside of Bangkok, you could explore the ruins of Ayutthaya. It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It was the Siamese capital for centuries, and the temples there they're just incredible.
Wow.
It's like stepping back in time.
Yeah.
You can just wander through these ancient ruins and imagine what it must have been like.
Yeah, I love that kind of stuff. It's so powerful.
And then if you head up north to Chiang Mai, you have to visit Doi Suthep.
Doi Su Thep.
It's this temple that's perched high on a mountaintop overlooking the city. Views are breathtaking.
Okay, that's going on the list. So it sounds like even amidst all the excitement of backpacking, you can still find these moments of, like, peace and reflection.
Oh, absolutely. Thailand has this really unique energy. It's both vibrant and serene at the same time.
Okay, but what about for those who are, looking for more of an adventure, like beyond the temples and the spiritual stuff?
Oh, there's tons of that too. Like a lot of the sources recommend jungle trekking in Khao Yai National Park. You can hike through lush rainforests, see waterfalls, spot wildlife. It's amazing.
That sounds incredible.
And then, of course, you have the beaches.
Ah, yes.
The beaches.
Whether you want the party scene of Phuket or something a little more laid back like Koh Lanta, there's a beach for everyone.
Okay, but I have to ask, what else is there to do on the beaches besides, just lie there and soak up the sun? Oh, tons of stuff. You can go diving, snorkeling. The coral reefs there are amazing. And if you're feeling really adventurous, you can even try rock climbing at Rayleigh Beach in Krabi.
Wait, rock climbing on a beach?
Yep, it's a thing. These dramatic limestone cliffs that just rise straight out of the water. It's pretty wild.
Okay, that is definitely something I would want to try. All right, switching gears a bit here. Money matters. We talked about budgeting, but what about actually getting cash in Thailand?
Oh, that's easy. ATMs are everywhere, even in smaller towns. So you don't have to worry about carrying around a ton of cash.
That's good to know. What about credit cards?
They're becoming more widely accepted, especially in the cities. But it's always good to have some local currency on hand, just in case, especially for smaller shops and, those market bargains.
Gotta haggle.
Exactly. It's all part of the experience.
I also noticed that ride-hailing apps are becoming really popular in Thailand, like Grab.
Oh, yeah. Grab is huge there. It's like the Uber of Southeast Asia. It's a lot more convenient than traditional taxis. And safer, too.
Yeah, I can see why. You know exactly how much you're going to pay before you even get in the car.
Right. No surprises. And you can pay through the app, so you don't have to worry about cash.
Speaking of, being safe and prepared, one of the sources mentioned staying connected, especially if you're traveling solo or off the beaten path.
Yeah, that's a good point. So getting a local SIM card is a good idea.
Okay, makes sense.
Yeah, that way you can use online maps, stay in touch with people, and, if you need to access any online resources, you can.
Always good to have that backup. Any other, tech tips that stood out to you?
Oh, downloading offline maps is a big one.
Oh, yeah, good point.
You can't always count on having Wi-Fi, especially in more remote areas.
True, true. All right. Well, I have to ask about the party scene. I mean, Thailand is famous for it.
Oh, yeah. There's something for everyone. From chill beach bars to full-on nightclubs, you can find whatever vibe you're looking for.
So, whether you want to dance all night or just relax with a drink and enjoy the view, you're good.
Exactly. And of course, you can't talk about partying in Thailand without mentioning the full moon party.
Oh, right. The legendary full moon party.
It's on Koh Phangan once a month. It's this huge beach party that attracts thousands of people from all over the world. Music, dancing, fire shows. It's crazy.
It sounds like a lot of fun, but also potentially a little overwhelming.
Yeah, it can be. So, the usual precautions apply. Stay with your group, watch your drinks, don't get too carried away.
Be smart, be safe.
Exactly.
All right, let's switch gears a bit. I want to talk about something that, it's not always talked about when it comes to backpacking, but it's such an important part of the experience. And that's like personal growth, self-discovery.
That's it. Totally. I think that's one of the most amazing things about travel. Stepping outside your comfort zone, immersing yourself in different cultures, it can be really transformative.
Absolutely. One of the sources actually talked about embracing discomfort. What do you think they meant by that?
I think it's about challenging yourself, pushing your boundaries, being open to new experiences, even if they feel a little scary at first.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of truth to that. It's often in those moments of discomfort that we learn the most about ourselves and about the world around us.
Right. The magic happens outside your comfort zone.
Exactly. So it's about, embracing the unknown, allowing yourself to be transformed by the journey.
And those moments of discomfort, they often make the best stories, too.
That's so true. Okay, let's talk souvenirs.
Yeah.
You got to bring back something to remember your trip by, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
What are some, quintessential Thai souvenirs?
Well, Thai silk is really beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
You can find scarves, shirts, even traditional Thai outfits are all so colorful and intricate. And then for something a little more unique, you could look for handicrafts, like wood carvings, ceramics, paintings, stuff like that.
I love that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It's you're bringing back a piece of the culture and supporting local artists at the same time.
Exactly. And don't forget about edible souvenirs,
Yeah.
like spices, teas, dried fruits.
Oh, yeah. Those are always good.
Just be mindful of, what you're buying and where it's coming from. Support ethical and sustainable practices.
Yeah, for sure. It's important to be a responsible traveler. Okay, this has been amazing.
Yeah.
But I want to touch on one last thing before we wrap up this part, and that's the post-trip blues.
Oh, yeah, that's real.
It's you come home from this incredible adventure and you just feel this emptiness, this longing to go back.
It's like finishing a really good book.
Exactly. So how do you deal with that?
Well, one of the sources suggested keeping those memories alive. Look through your photos, write about your experiences, maybe even create a scrapbook. Anything that helps you relive those moments.
Yeah, that's good advice. And I think, sharing those memories with others can help too, talking about your trip with people who get it, who understand the travel bug.
Totally. And the best way to combat the post-trip blues?
Let me guess. Start planning your next trip.
You got it.
It's having something to look forward to makes the transition back to real life a little bit easier.
Exactly. But what if you don't know where to go next?
Yeah, that can be tough. So many possibilities.
Well, one source recommended reflecting on your past travels, what were the moments that really resonated with you, the places, the activities, the encounters that really stuck with you, and then use those insights to guide your future travel plans.
That's a really good idea. It's looking for patterns in your travel experiences, figuring out what really speaks to your soul.
Exactly. And then, using that knowledge to create a travel journey that's really meaningful and fulfilling for you.
I love that. All right, this has been amazing. But I think we need to wrap up this part.
Hooray.
I know, right? Time flies when you're having fun.
It does.
But don't worry, we've still got more to cover in our final part.
Can't wait.
Okay, so we're back for our final deep dive into backpacking Thailand. It's crazy how much we've already covered. Well, I know, right? But we still got some good stuff left, some real gems, actually.
Yeah, I like the sound of that.
So what else did we find out about, really experiencing Thailand authentically?
Well, one thing that kept popping up was sustainable and responsible travel,
Yeah.
Recognizing that we as travelers, we have an impact
Yeah.
and being mindful of that.
Makes sense. Especially in a place as as beautiful and as popular as Thailand.
Yeah.
So what are some things that, like what can backpackers actually do to be more sustainable?
Well, one of the sources talked about supporting locally owned businesses,
Yeah.
like choosing guest houses and restaurants and tour operators that are actually run by local people.
Yeah, so that the money's going back into the community.
Exactly. And, it often leads to more authentic experiences, too. You're connecting with local people, learning about their culture, their traditions.
It's a win-win.
Totally.
Yeah.
And another tip that came up a lot was be mindful of plastic consumption.
Yeah, that's a huge issue everywhere, but especially in Southeast Asia.
Yeah, it's a big problem. So, just little things like bring a reusable water bottle, say no to plastic straws, use reusable bags when you're shopping.
Yeah, those little things add up.
They really do.
Okay, I can't resist. We have to talk about food again.
Oh, always.
I'm ready for some more foodie tips.
Okay, well, here's one that I thought was really clever. When you're at a street stall, if you see a local eating something that looks good, just ask the vendor to make you the same thing.
Oh, that's such a good idea.
Right. It might not even be on the menu.
So you're getting the real, authentic local experience.
Exactly. And another thing I learned was that there are tons of vegetarian and vegan options in Thailand.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So if you're plant-based, you definitely won't go hungry.
Good to know. All right, let's switch gears a bit and talk about accommodation. Like
Yeah.
where to stay.
Yeah, finding the right place to stay can really make a difference.
Totally. So what did you learn about accommodation in Thailand?
Well, obviously, there's a huge range of options, from like budget hostels to luxury resorts.
Right, something for everyone. But what about like any trends, anything new and exciting happening in the accommodation scene?
Well, one source talked about these boutique hostels that are popping up everywhere.
Boutique hostels.
Yeah, they're like a step up from your traditional hostel. They have more of a stylish vibe, Sometimes they even have private rooms.
So it's like a little bit of luxury, but still affordable.
Exactly. And then homestays are also becoming really popular.
Oh, homestays are amazing. You get to like really experience local life.
Right. You're staying with a local family, learning about their culture, their traditions. It's a really special experience.
Okay, so we're almost at the end of our deep dive. And I want to leave our listeners with like one final piece of advice.
Okay, I'm listening.
It's tempting to like plan every detail of your trip, right?
Mm-hmm.
To make this perfect itinerary.
Yeah.
But honestly, the best experiences often happen when you least expect them.
Oh, 100%. Like those unplanned detours, those spontaneous moments, those are the things you'll remember forever.
Totally. So embrace the unexpected. Be open to new experiences. Talk to the locals. Get lost. Say yes to adventure.
That's such good advice.
So with that, I think we've reached the end of our Thailand deep dive.
Wow.
It's been a journey.
It really has.
But hopefully, you've gotten some good insight, some inspiration.
I know I have.
So pack your bags, embrace the unknown, and go experience Thailand. It's Wazdi.